Uranium contamination of water in the United States. Today we're looking at Save the Water. So abandoned uranium mines continue to contaminate water sources, posing health risks to Native American communities. It is common that in the times following one water crisis, others are overshadowed and often forgotten. One of these forgotten water issues is the contamination in the Navajo Nation, and experts attribute the lack of discussion on the topic to the biased media and to the United States' general disregard for the Native American community. Since the early 2016, indigenous protesters have begun a series of protests and events in order to expose the troubling pollution problem on the Navajo land. And since the 1950s, uranium mining, and coal-fired power plants have been depositioning harmful contaminants in the Navajo water sources. Some issues of significance include contamination by the Peabody coal mining on the Black Mesa, pollution from radioactive tailings from the Cold War uranium mining, and the 2015 Gold King mine waste spill. Even after relocation to the Four Corners region, affected Native Americans still suffered from chemical contamination. Because they were relocated to Sanders, Arizona, uranium contaminants would seep into water sources by the Rio Porco wash. What's more is the Four Corners is known for polluting coal-fired power plants, and our water has been impacted since the 1950s onto today. States Stein, Navajo, Louis Bainley, who has been resisting relocation at the Big Mountain for 40 years. What makes uranium contamination so dangerous? In order to find out, Will Bale and John Harley conducted an independent study and eventually led to the development of the United States Public Health Study, or USPHS, on uranium mine workers. Bale, Haley, and USPHS revealed that the miners and non-miners who had come into contact with contaminated water had a higher probability of developing lung cancer, pneumonia, tuberculosis, chronic obstructive respiratory disease, and diseases of the blood. They were perhaps 30 times more likely to contract a disease than those not affected. Millions of people across the United States are being exposed to nuclear radiation on a daily basis. Each case of exposure has been linked to cancer, genetic defects, and general increase in mortality. And the delegation heading to Washington plans to speak about many of the harms of uranium contamination that affect them and others. Native American nations of North America are the miners' canaries for the United States, trying to awaken people to the world of the dangers of radioactive pollution, exclaimed Ms. Whiteface. There are over 272 abandoned uranium mines, AUM, in South Dakota, which continue to contaminate the Cheyenne River and lay waste to the holy ceremony location. It's not just the Native American population that's affected, because these AUMs are in such close proximity to the infamous Mount Rushmore. Millions of tourists come into contact with radioactive contamination, too. Environmentalists have warned there are thousands more AUMs around the nation, all having the capability to contaminate water to a dangerous degree. And unfortunately, indigenous communities are most affected by AUMs, as 75% of these miners are located on tribal lands. In 2015, the Gold King mine spill was a wake-up call to address the dangers of abandoned mines, but there's still currently more than 15,000 toxic uranium mines that remain abandoned throughout the U.S., states Miss Whiteface, for more than 5 decades. And many of these poisonous radioactive sites have been destroying the land, air, water around landmarks such as Grand Canyon, Mount Rushmore, and each single mine has the same potential to cause another gold mine spill, threatening the lives of peoplehood who live in the area. And there's ongoing campaigns such as Clean Up the Mines that has been an attempt to resolve the problems of AUMs. These uranium mines cause radioactive contamination. As a result, all of the residents in this vicinity are becoming nuclear radiation victims. So this is an extremely important issue. Now, how do you know if nuclear radiation got into your water? The only way is to test it. That's why it's important to periodically test your water.